Okay, this episode will come out around the time of International Women's Day.
Women of the world unite.
So instead of our normal, unfunny, borderline misogynistic cold opens, I will instead be reading from Alexandra Kolontais' pamphlet, Women's Day, published in the Soviet newspaper Pravda on the 23rd of February, which in Russia is the 8th of March,
Old
1913.
style.
What is Women's Day? Is it really necessary? Is it not a concession to the women of the bourgeois class, to the feminists and suffragettes? Is it not harmful to the unity of the workers' movement? Such questions can still be heard in Russia, though they are no longer heard abroad. Life itself has already supplied a clear and eloquent answer. Women's Day is a link in the long, solid chain of the women's proletarian movement. The organized army of working women grows with every year. 20 years ago, the trade unions contained only small groups of working women scattered here and there among the ranks of the Workers' Party. Now, English trade unions have over 292,000 women members. In Germany, around 200,000 are in the trade union movement and 150,000 in the Communist Party. And in Austria, there are 47,000 in the trade unions and almost 20,000 in the party. Everywhere, in Italy, Hungary, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Switzerland, the women of the working class are organizing themselves. The Women's Socialist Army has almost 1 million members, a powerful force, a force that the powers of this world must reckon with when it is a question of the cost of living, maternity insurance, child labor, and legislation to protect female labor. There was a time when working men thought that they alone must bear on their shoulders the brunt of the struggle against capital, that they alone must deal with the old world without the help of their womenfolk. However, as working class women entered the ranks of those who sell their labor, forced onto the labor market by need, by the fact that their husband or father is unemployed, working men became aware that to leave women behind in the ranks of the non-class conscious was to damage their cause and hold it back. The greater the number of conscious fighters, the greater the chance of success. What levels of consciousness is possessed by a woman who sits by the stove, who has no rights in society, the state, or the family? She has no ideas of her own. Everything is done as ordered by the father or husband. The backwardness and lack of rights suffered by women, their subjection and indifference, are of no benefit to the working class, and indeed are directly harmful to it. But how is the woman worker to be drawn into the movement? How is she to be awoken? Social democracy abroad did not find the correct solution immediately. Women's organizations were open to women workers, but only a few entered. Why? Because the working class at first did not realize that the woman worker is the most legally and socially deprived member of that class, that she has been browbeaten, intimidated, persecuted down the centuries, and that in order to stimulate her mind and heart, a special approach is needed. Words understandable to her as a woman. The workers did not immediately appreciate that in this world of lack of rights and exploitation, the woman is oppressed not only as a seller of her labor, but also as a mother, as a woman. However, when the Workers' Socialist Party understood this, it boldly took up the defense of women on both counts as a hired worker and as a woman, a mother. Socialists in every country began to demand special protection for female labor, insurance for mother and child, political rights for women, and the defense of women's interests. The more clearly the Workers' Party perceived this second objective vis-a-vis women's workers, the more willingly women joined the party, the more they appreciated that the party is their true champion. The working class is struggling also for their urgent and exclusively female needs. Working women themselves, organized and conscious, have done a great deal to elucidate this objective. Now, the main burden of the work to attract more working women into the socialist movement lies with the women. The parties in every country have their own special women's committees, secretariats, and bureaus. These women's committees conduct work among the still largely non-politically conscious female population, arouse the consciousness of the working women, and organize them. They also examine those questions and demands that affect women most closely: protection and provision for expectant and nursing mothers, the legislative regulation of female labor, the campaign against prostitution and infant mortality, the demand for political rights for women, the improvement of housing, the campaign against the rising cost of living, etc. Thus, as members of the party, women workers are fighting for the common class cause, while at the same time outlining and putting forward those needs and demands that most neatly affect themselves as women, housewives, and mothers. The party supports those demands and fights for them. The requirements of working women are part and parcel of the common workers' cause. On Women's Day, the organized demonstrate against their lack of rights. But some will say, why this singling out of women workers? Why special women's days, special leaflets for working women, meetings and conferences of working class women? Is this not, in the final analysis, a concession to liberal feminists and bourgeois suffragettes? Only those who do not understand the radical difference between the movement of socialist women and bourgeois suffragettes can think this way. What is the aim of the feminists? Their aim is to achieve the same advantages, the same power, the same rights within capitalist society as those possessed now by their husbands, fathers, and brothers. What is the aim of the women workers? Their aim is to abolish all privilege deriving from birth or wealth. For the woman worker, it is a matter of indifference who is the master, a man or a woman. Together with the whole of her class, she can erase her position as a worker. Liberal feminists demand equal rights always and everywhere. Women workers reply, we demand rights for every citizen, man and woman. But we are not prepared to forget that we are not only workers and citizens, but also mothers. And as mothers, as women who give birth to the future, we demand special concern for ourselves and our children, special protection from the state and society. The feminists are striving to acquire political rights. However, here too our paths separate. For bourgeois women, political rights are simply a means allowing them to make their way more conveniently and more securely in a world founded on the exploitation of working people. For women workers, political rights are a step along the rocky and difficult path that leads to the desired kingdom of labor. The paths pursued by women workers and bourgeois suffragettes have long since separated. There is too great a difference between the objectives that life has put before them. There is too great a contradiction between the interests of the woman worker and the lady proprietress, between the servant and her mistress. There are not and cannot be any points of contact, conciliation, or convergence between them. Therefore, working men should not fear separate women's days, nor special conferences of women workers, nor their special press. Every special, distinct form of work among the women of the working class is simply a means of arousing the consciousness of the woman worker and drawing her into the ranks of those fighting for a better future. Women's days and the slow, meticulous work undertaken to arouse the self-consciousness of the woman worker are serving the cause not of the division, but of the unification of the entire working class. Let a joyous sense of serving the common class cause and of fighting simultaneously for their own female emancipation inspire women workers everywhere to join in the celebration of International Women's Day. So that was our cold open. Now into the meat of the episode.
Yep. Thank you, Cole and Ty.
Yep.
We love you.
Mm-hmm.
I have two statements to work us into this. Statement 1. They say that evil never dies.
Okay.
Statement 2.
Ali Khamenei
is
dead. They say that love never dies. Ali Khamenei is dead.
He was, how old was he?
He was 82. He was just a fucking kid, man.
He was a fucking child, 87 years old.
With cancer, too.
Yeah,
the United States didn't have to even kill him. They could have just waited like another 2 years at most, and he'd be fucking dead.
If you haven't been following the news or you fell asleep on Friday and woke up today, and by Friday I mean like last week when by the time you hear this, and woke up today, the United States and Israel engaged in a decapitation strike against Iran, killing not only Ali Khamenei, but like half the Iranian government.
Yeah.
And also, it's just been bombing the shit out of Iran for the past 4 days.
Yeah.
The operation named something around the lines of Operation Narwhal Bacon.
It was
Operation Epic Reddit.
No joke. It was Operation Epic Fury.
Yeah.
Holy Reddit, that man.
Yeah. I thought Elon Musk was out of the government, but they're still letting him name shit.
You know who probably named this? And this is the first thing I want to talk about, sort of as my pet area of expertise.
Okay.
Is Claude Opus. Probably named the operation. As has been leaked, now you may have not been following the Claude/Anthropic Trump rift, but last month, Anthropic wanted to secure some defense contracts with the US government, which led to their chief security officer resigning. Now, AI security as a field is itself basically a meme and a joke, but the people in that field take it very seriously. And their chief security officer stepped down, which led to Trump having a whole fit, calling the company radical left and woke, and trying to excise them from the Pentagon. But that did not stop the Pentagon from apparently using Anthropic's AI tools to assist in the strikes over the weekend. So
my assumption, because
Is this the first confirmed case of AI in warfare?
Israel has already... I guess we don't know what they're calling AI, but they've said they have been using like AI tools to
the Child Killer 5000.
Yeah, they've been using the Child Killer 5000s with AI to eviscerate as many Palestinian children as humanly possible. But I thought what happened here, especially because of all of these weird mishaps, is that Claude and Anthropic said that you're not able to use these tools. Trump had like a meltdown, and instead they started using Grok. And which is why so much shit has been like just flying. But yeah, I guess like AI security is kind of funny because we have been getting like large scale international attacks that have been incredibly successful just by having people like let code run free for like 2 days and then seeing what comes of it. So as much as it's a joke, the poor guys that are actually in it,
Mm-hmm.
poor workers that are actually in
The
it.
poor
So
proletariat.
I've
that we're-
accidentally fallen so far already. The poor
I'm so
proletarians
excited.
working there are fighting for their life.
I'm just clocking in at my daily shift at the totally morally neutral civilian killing factory.
Sometimes I feel like I'm the only leftist working as a drone pilot.
Yeah. So presumably, what happened was because I don't think Claude was like directing operations.
They probably just came up with this like well in advance. Like I've heard some like online rumors that this was planned since December.
Yeah, there's that aspect to it. I think what they used Claude for was determining who to put on the list of targets. Right? They probably were like, who are some top level government officials in Iran for us to kill? Because they killed some true random.
They killed a historic opposition leader
Yeah,
too.
they killed like a guy who hasn't been in like power for years.
Ahmadinejad,
And who
right?
has like no role in the government.
Yeah, and the AI was probably like this historically prominent politician.
So there is maybe one or two things. I mean, this could bear to be wrong, but like a former president of Iran, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, was reported killed, and I think then I also saw after that someone who claimed to be on his staff was like he's not dead. Will follow up on this, but like yeah, it's just killing like totally random people. I mean, like one of them was an opposition leader who's now a member of the government, but he's like I guess still had some clout as like a opposition leader in Iran historically. I think it just seems pretty clear that the United States and Israel are just like we just want to kill whoever we can and collapse Iran in the process.
They also are working off very, very outdated intel for a lot of these strikes. For example, the elementary school that they killed, what was it, 105 young children?
I thought the last count I saw was, I believe, confirmed at least 154.
Wait, really? Damn.
Last I saw was at least 105 with at least 95 injuries. But it may be more than that. I would believe 154.
Last time I
read
saw
it.
the death count, it was 81.
No,
Yeah.
it's above
Jesus.
100 at least.
It keeps going
Yeah,
up,
but
is what we're getting at.
That elementary school was the site that it's on was in a military base 10 years ago. So presumably they hit it because they have a list of targets, and that school happens to be in this long list of targets because they're working off. Maybe AI is just selecting places to hit based on old intel.
Well, to be honest, it seems like Israel had done this strike and they just love killing children for the love of the game.
Yeah, I did see everyone was trying to say, oh, it was actually like an Iranian missile misfire, except it was one of the first things to happen in a surprise event in an area targeted by the US and Israel, and also was before any retaliatory missiles had been shot, as far as I'm aware of. So it seems pretty like clear cut that
honestly, I think it was the US, and here's why. Iran has blamed the US and Israel, obviously. IDF said they are, quote, not aware of any IDF operations in that specific area, but the US military central command said they were looking into it. So I presume the US
What
did
are they,
it.
the fucking EU?
I assume the US did it then, because otherwise they would have been like, oh, I don't know, Israel.
Every international relations scenario got the EU monitoring cuck chair.
Now, the international situation monitors in the EU and Canada's response has been overwhelmingly pro the strikes. I know Britain took a couple hits in Cyprus at their outstanding naval bases there from Hezbollah, which is an Iranian ally. The EU in general has voiced support and pledged, I think some places have pledged material support, saying they will help the US continue the strikes. Canada has said that we will do absolutely nothing to help the
These
US.
small countries can just give America a little bit more money to build that military up.
Yeah. That Canada has said that we support the strikes, but
The
that we will
sign's back
not
in the
be
window, baby.
Should I just read Carney's statement?
Sure.
All right.
It's in the chat, folks.
The Canadian government is closely following Iran-related hostilities throughout the Middle East and urges all Canadians in Iran to shelter in place. Canadians in the wider region should follow local advice and take necessary precautions. Canada's position remains clear. The Islamic Republic of Iran is the principal source of instability and terror throughout the Middle East. Let that simmer. Has one of the world's worst human rights records and must never be allowed to obtain or develop nuclear weapons. I'm just going to pause there. Didn't we strike them like last year to say that they couldn't do that for another 10 years or something?
Iran?
Like, yeah, didn't they just... Like,
yeah,
didn't
Trump,
America
Trump
just bomb
specifically
Iran for
claimed
that?
that they had obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program in last year's missile war.
Yeah. Continuing. Canada and our international partners have consistently called upon the Iranian regime to end its nuclear program, including at the 2025 G7 Leaders Summit in Kananaskis and with the United Nations reimposition of sanctions in September. Despite diplomatic efforts, Iran has neither fully dismantled its nuclear program, halted all enrichment activities, nor ended its support for regional terrorist proxy groups. Sorry. Canada stands with the Iranian people in their long and courageous struggle against Iran's oppressive regime. Canada has listed the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist entity and has sanctioned 256 Iranian entities and 222 individuals in response to the regime's repression and its violence against both its own people and persistently beyond its borders. Canada reaffirms Israel's right to defend itself and to ensure the security of its people.
Canada reaffirms Israel's right to just indiscriminately bomb like any country.
Yeah. Also, it's like there's so much of this where they're just describing Israel the whole time.
But it's also like, what is Israel defending itself from in this case? Like there have been cases in the past where there have been, I don't know, you could say that maybe you could twist the facts to say Hezbollah did something.
Yeah.
Right. And then that would, through transitive logic, mean Iran did something because they back Hezbollah. But this time, literally nothing happened.
And also, they openly stated that this was like an offensive attack for regime change. And like, we literally can't pretend that this is defensive in any way.
The sign's back up in the window.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We're back pretending that what the U.S. does is ever good. Now, the reason why, of course, Canada, there is some pragmatism behind Carney's statement, of course, as 1% of the total Canadian population is Iranian and are often strategically located in places Carney needs to win elections.
Canada supports the United States acting to prevent Iran from obtaining nuclear weapon, singular, and prevent its regime from further threatening international peace and security. The Canadian government urges the protection of all civilians in this conflict. We will take all possible measures to protect our nationals and Canadian diplomatic missions throughout the region. You know, it was interesting hearing they're bombing the school children and then seeing Carney come out and it's like, guys, we love Israel. It's kind of nuts. So I went to a place where I haven't been in a long time, actually. I went to Facebook.
Okay.
To check it out.
Sure.
I went on a Reddit thread just to catch a vibe, and it was everything was like a 4 upvote post. I landed on something wrong, and then I got a notification from Facebook or something. The top comment, Operation Epic Fury, as others have pointed out, must have been a misprint, actually Operation Epstein Files.
Okay.
I think there's one theory that this is all to distract from the Epstein Files.
At what point are the Epstein Files distracting from actually important things?
Yeah.
Is what I want to know.
Yeah.
Because
like this.
If you think that this is a distract, this is the like, I know Pizzagate has become a liberal thing now, but this is sort of like when conservatives were like, this major news event is a distraction from the Hunter Biden laptop from hell.
Yeah.
Also, they were like, laptop from hell. It's just like some degenerate drug addict guy who
Yeah.
loves having sex with strippers and having kids with them out of wedlock.
Listen,
He
that-
could be any one of us.
Mainly
Fully doxed.
Yeah, social security number.
First of all, it's social insurance number, little chud.
But all right, you know.
Spencer,
Thanks for
there's one
helping
difference
dox
is that
me.
I can't get a man pregnant.
Dude, it's
Yes,
Despite the fact that
yes.
I've tried before.
We're working on that. We're working on that.
Can we get a pelvic floor emoji?
Under communism, men will be able to get pregnant.
Kegels for Khamenei. I do think that like I have kind of been simmering in my own brain, which is like for the average Westoid, only two things in life like matter. One of them is Palestine, and the other is the Epstein file. And these are, between the two things, proof that all the richest people in the world are just active, insane, pervert freak monsters.
Yeah.
And also with the Palestine exception, it's like even the people who say they're kind in liberal governments are more than happy to do genocide. And between those two things, there's no reconciling like liberal democracy. But even in this, it's like, bro, it's an actual war.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, the thing with the liberal Pizzagating is the Republican Pizzagating was far funnier and more
Yeah.
schizophrenic, right? With like the whole pizza restaurant fixation. The liberal impression of the Epstein file seems to be that there is one Epstein file,
yes.
and it is a photo of Epstein and Donald Trump together. No other institution involved in all of this shit is implicated in its totality.
Yeah, they're looking at it and they're like, these are the 5 to 20 monsters that are committing crimes instead of
This is the system.
Yeah, this is the system. This system
is
puts
working
these people
as
at the top.
intended. Yeah. It's doing exactly what it is emergently behaving to do.
So I'm gonna read like a handful more comments because I took a screenshot of just all the top comments.
From
So the
what,
next
like,
one
r
was
slash on guard for the
from Mark Carney's Facebook post.
Oh my god, we still have governments using Facebook for communication in the year of our Lord
Well, they got
2026.
99% of voters are on Facebook because only boomers vote.
Yeah. This is why we
Was
gotta
this
get rid of
written by the
Facebook.
same person who gave the speech at Davos? Was the second one.
I think Carney probably wrote both, if I had to guess. So to answer your question,
What the hell are you talking about? He's a
yes.
politician. He doesn't write his own speeches.
Carney famously does write his own speeches. It's like
Really?
his one quirk.
This one I did like
Really?
because there was a grammar error, so I'm just gonna. Next, apparently this is value-based realism in action. Look at what this government is willing to overlook to seek out trade with China, India, and now the US. Perhaps the value is measured by a dollar sign. Which I like this
That's
one
probably
because
the most lucid comment.
yeah, I liked this one as well because the whole point of, I don't want to bring up Carney's book every episode for the rest of time, but it's that you can make the dollars work for morals, and this guy is actively refuting that based on what Carney is actually doing in the real world. This one, if you attack someone's home, do you think they're just going to sit back and do nothing? Is this called the position of middle powers? You said that you removed the sign from the window, as Liam was saying. The sign is back up. If Russia attacks Canada, would it be called Canada-related hostilities? Just a random question, but has Israel ever signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Agreement and won't let the IAEA inspectors in to observe? Why don't they get the same level of scrutiny?
Yeah, I mean, famously, Israel has basically a public plan to nuke the entire Middle East if their security is so much as temporarily compromised.
Yeah. I
Google the
disagree with
Samson
Mark
option.
Carney's position on Iran. If the people of Iran are dissatisfied with their government, it should ultimately be their responsibility to pursue their own change. I do not believe that the military strikes by the United States and Israel are justified in this situation. And then I see you've decided to put your sign back up on the window. These were all the comments going down. I've read enough, but it seems that like people are not buying it. I'm reminded of the meme where it's like the West doesn't even manufacture consent to start wars anymore. They just look at you like this.
I feel like they've realized that actually the state machinery is now so sophisticated. Why bother manufacturing consent? Just do it. What are people going to do?
Yeah. How can they
I'm
stop?
gonna heckin' vote.
Yeah.
We're gonna have another vote bowl. over
Yeah.
it.
Oh my! Did a
Chody,
vote
let me
ball
tell you,
happen?
you're not getting a midterm.
Yeah.
And my favorite comment, guys, don't blow me out too much for this one, was, can you believe it? He started a war in a baseball cap. You had me in the first half. All right? I didn't care about the baseball cap.
Doesn't that
Yes, it does. Eddie, cut that out. That one made my eyes pop out of my skull a little bit. But there were a few immediate things that happened when the war started. One, Netanyahu's plane went to Berlin and they published saying, actually, it's only the staffers. All the staffers are there. Also, definitely not Netanyahu's there. And the next day, Netanyahu posted a video of him on like a rooftop, and
he's in the Führer bunker.
it was definitely pre-recorded. Is all I can say.
He's live from the roof of the Führer bunker in Berlin.
Yeah.
No, unlike Adolf Hitler, I'm sorry to say, Benjamin Netanyahu will get away with it.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, 1 billion flights to Poland. Holy crap.
Well,
You look at the flight maps. Oh my god, bro. It's what's that album that came out last year? A City Drowned in God's Black Tears. Where he's just like, what the fuck are you talking about, the promised land? Half these motherfuckers are just from Poland.
Also,
Yeah,
I mean,
they're,
speaking of flights, by the way, if you had a bad day at work that day, keep in mind that you are at least not the Mogadishu air traffic controller who normally has to deal with zero traffic through airspace, but instead had to deal with the entire Middle Eastern air traffic being rerouted over Somalia.
Yeah, the Israelis are doing, or half of Israel is doing aliyah to their native lands, which is the former USSR.
It, like, why couldn't Carney just be like a pedophile so that I would understand why he's doing all of this? At least have like the easy cop out theory.
No, it's like I said
instead
when we
of
did
the
our,
like make markets work for humanity guy being like, infinite genocide is kind of good for the morality scale.
I think we said it during the Epstein episode when we did talk about them eating people and stuff. But Canada's bourgeoisie are not even compromised by Israel. They just do that.
Yeah.
Like they just love doing it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
apart from some of our bourgeoisie who are like dual citizens.
Also, oh wait, isn't this finance minister the son of the guy that does real estate for birthright tours or something like that?
No,
What was
so
that connection?
an advisor. Okay, yeah, you sent me that video. So like,
Yeah.
there's like this advisor of his, I can't remember his first name and last name, Bronfman, whose dad is like a Canadian American businessman who founded like Birthright.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And
Birthright, like the
also
government program in Israel?
Yeah, Birthright's also in charge of doing a lot of settlements too, but it also runs like the Birthright program, which is basically to like, it's basically a indoctrination propaganda tour for non-Israeli Jews in order to like convince them to like make Aliyah to come to Israel. There's also a bit in the past where it's like, like they'll try and make sure that you're like escorted by like hot IDF soldiers. So you're like, it's sometimes it's literally so like you're like, oh, these guys are hot and like hook up with them so that you get, again, more compelled to come to Israel. It's like Birthright's weird. It's weird. It's very much a propaganda tour. They take you to parts of Israel that are like, already ethnically cleansed, but they take you to like settlements too very often.
Yeah. I think it was a year and a half ago or something like that. I got like a Instagram, one of my friends who was out on Birthright. She's dancing around with the soldiers with all the guns and stuff like that. There's literally smoke in the background. I was just like, well, that's not great. That's not great. So, they're split ways is how I'll put that. Birthright's incredibly, I mean, from a propaganda standpoint, it makes perfect sense, but how much it's permeated through like certain sections of the culture is a little strange.
But yeah, we basically, back to the thing, is like a current advisor and friend of Trudeau and now an advisor, Mark Carney. His dad has founded Birthright and has like somewhat influence of some influence in the government. But our government also just does this for the love of the game too.
Yeah.
Like it's not always again, a lot of people love taking refuge in like the pedophile blackmail or Jewish cabal conspiracy theories when it's realistically that the ruling class is just evil and they just love doing this shit
Yeah,
because it's good for business.
yeah. They just love colonialism.
It's great for weapons stocks. You gotta invest in Lockheed Martin.
Which, thinking of, there seemed to the rumor on the streets, aka just looking around on social media. We know that when Trump came into power, he was like, actually, there's no ammo. The army doesn't have any ammo. And now it's looking like that might be on to something. One, it does seem that Iranian missiles are really making it through. And this is
Well,
like
as we
from day
said when we
one.
talked about the Golden Dome thing, there is no effective ICBM defense. It does not exist.
Yeah,
It's a waste of money.
yeah,
I mean, as always, it's a point defense system.
Yeah.
It only works if you have enough missiles to match the amount of missiles being fired at you.
and much more, because we now have all the videos of like Patriot missile after Patriot missile after Patriot missile going after a missile coming towards Israel, and the missile just goes right through. And you're watching them blow like $50 million to not stop an incoming missile. Like, you're watching them blow $50 million for the system to fail. And it seems like they're now looking to make this quick, probably because sustaining the rate of ammo consumption is not going.
Well, it costs them just stationing the task force in the Persian Gulf that they're using for this. That task force consumes at peacetime operations 13 million US dollars a day. Now, obviously, every time you fire one of these missiles or whatever, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars down the. But there's also the added issue of this operation being so poorly and rapidly planned that Kuwait didn't know the U.S. Air Force would be flying overhead and shot down 3 F-15E Strike Eagle fighter bombers, which
That's like
altogether
a couple billion down the drain.
it's 300 million US dollars lost immediately because they didn't tell their own ally they were going to be doing this.
Another reason that it makes it seem like it's planned by Grok,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, just send the fighters, they'll get in, they'll get out quick. And it's like, oh, you actually are supposed to let your allies know you're flying bombers above.
Honestly,
in a
probably what it
war.
was, it might not even be an AI thing. They probably have just simmed, like war gamed and simmed this conflict so much that they have baked in assumptions like, oh, all of Blue 4 will be cooperating on this at the same time and have like an interconnected communication and IFF system,
No.
which is not true.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
No one talks to anybody else.
maybe if like a more or like a less coked up admin were in charge, they would have thought to loop in their allies before they started. But honestly, I don't even know if that's true. Because considering how like buffoonish the US Navy is normally, even when before Trump was president.
Well, yeah, you saw that like sailors were like clogging the toilets of the Lincoln because they're like,
Oh
we don't
my
want to go.
God,
Not
that
the
was-
Lincoln, the
also-
Gerald R. Ford.
Yeah,
were
also,
flushing
has
t-shirts
the
down the
Gerald R.
toilet.
Ford been sunk?
No, the Gerald R. Ford is if a U.S. carrier sank, that would be the end of the U.S.
I
empire.
thought I saw now. Okay, one, you can't trust anything anymore. I thought I saw a large, potentially aircraft carrier ship get hit by a missile. I don't know if it sunk. I probably would have heard if it did.
Okay,
probably
so
not.
what you're talking about is probably from when the U.S. was fighting the Houthis, and there was a case where it seemed like an aircraft carrier almost got hit, came very close to being hit by like a suicide drone, and I think that's what you're thinking about.
Okay, okay,
But no aircraft carrier has been
Yeah.
sunk. If a
Okay.
U.S. aircraft carrier ever gets sunk,
we'll know.
that would be like that would be worse than 9/11 for the United States. That would be the single greatest humiliation in like 30, 40 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think, and there's definitely the longer the war goes on, the more potential for an aircraft carrier getting sunk happens. I mean, obviously, just because like the longer they're in action for, but like
I think, I don't know,
the longer it goes
a
on, the more desperate and
an insane Iran will get.
yeah.
But the thing is, I think a rational country could handle like a now we'll talk about China's response, which has been basically nothing. But a rational country like China, if they lost an aircraft carrier, would probably retool their naval strategy around the new realities of warfare that caused them to lose it. Right? Like we're like in Russia, we're seeing so much more drone usage, and that has completely changed the role that like armored vehicles play in warfare over there, right? Where they've gone from being the primary like spearheads of conflict to returning to their World War One trench busting origin now, where because
Well,
they
that's just because like warfare in Ukraine has retreated to World War One trench
and
warfare.
a big reason why is because of drones making armored spearhead tactics untenable now,
Yeah,
right? So
but also
so like an aircraft carrier being sunk, it would probably be a drone thing, and it would probably totally upend naval strategy, the default naval strategy. A rational country would be able to handle that, like China, if that ever happened. They could retool their navy probably on a dime and keep fighting whatever war caused it.
Yeah.
The United States, I think if they lose an aircraft carrier, I do not know how they respond, and I don't want to see the response because
Yeah.
it probably involves them,
dropping a few nukes.
yeah, or like blanketing this Iran with U.S. soldiers and trying to kill as many people as possible in revenge or something. Because it would literally be worse than 9/11. It would
Yeah.
kill more people than 9/11 immediately.
I feel like that might be like if an American aircraft carrier sunk, that might be that like final moment for the dying empire type situation.
Yeah.
Because this whole thing is like America's just going full on like warmongering because it's getting hit by too many contradictions, tendency for the rate of profit to fall, right? And everyone's life is getting worse. You can't do nothing. And American,
But you also can't do anything unless it's spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on missiles.
Yeah.
So you must expend military resources to do Keynesianism again.
Yeah, so it's an attempt to do military Keynesianism, but like the reason Iran is the way it is because America did this to shut down their socialist systems to guarantee that their market would expand there. They are the reason why Iran is like this. And the market system has already made it. America can't force new places to be ingrained into the market. There is no outward expansion, so it will only continue to get worse internally. Which ultimately means that this is like an aim at military Keynesianism from a government that's not willing to do any Keynesianism for no reason. It's even if everything worked out perfectly, it wouldn't solve any of the issues that, like, not that imperialism is good, but like it doesn't work out the internal contradictions that imperialism solves.
Yeah.
So it's all worthless
Yeah.
in the end.
There's no point to this. I mean, this is basically just Trump acting on a whim and Israel getting in on it because they've wanted to do this forever, but needed the US's tacit approval.
Okay, so depending on how things are, I've also heard rumors that it was specifically Israel struck first, and the US was like, if Israel strikes first, we're going in.
Okay.
So it could have been the case that like,
but
the
Israel
tail-
and Iran have exchanged
yes,
fire before.
yeah. It's just I think with this specifically also rumors that like if Israel hit Iran, they would immediately respond also by attacking US bases near them. Like at this point it's almost like who knows, because the United States and Israel are just like almost like two halves of a whole acting in concert in this area of the world.
In other high profile targets that have been hit, we had like THAAD systems, which is like the missile detection, like the cream of the crop missile detection systems have been hit, I believe, which only makes things like worse for
There's been confirmed hits?
Yeah, I've seen one get blown up.
Okay, you might need to show me that video, because if you're talking about the one I'm thinking of, that was in Bahrain.
And
that
yes,
was
it was.
And that was an American system, and I need to rewatch the video because I'm certain, at least in the video, it shows the explosion happening near to the building, but not necessarily from the angle of the video, obviously damaging the building, but it could have potentially. But yeah, this was like an air detection system on an American base in Bahrain. I think it was Bahrain.
Yeah, I believe I saw the actual building itself, but what do I fucking know? It could have been the building next to it, and I just didn't recognize it.
Yes, but it seemed like the target was that. Yeah. We've already had like a few confirmed American military fatalities.
I think there's been 5 deaths or something.
3 deaths and 5 injuries, I think it was.
I mean, I assume the strike eagles that got taken down by
I think everyone survived those.
They all survived.
Yes,
I
that's what
believe,
Kuwait said.
Honestly,
And
I
there's
don't know.
some videos of like some Kuwaiti civilians like approaching some like at least 2 of the pilots.
Maybe the calculus has changed, but frankly, that I know in World War II, for example, you'd often rather have the pilots die
Yeah,
than the planes themselves because the pilots take forever to train, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if the calculus has changed because planes are now so valuable as assets that maybe they are.
But I mean, even still, they're very, very valuable. But there's also such incredibly complicated pieces of hardware that you still also need insane training.
yeah.
It's a whole lot more harder to train a pilot now.
But
with,
that's
like,
what
all
I'm
the-
saying. If all the pilots survive, that's kind of a condemnation of American air defense because shouldn't you be killing the pilots on these anti-aircraft missions?
Although it's not the Americans shooting down their own planes, it's the Kuwaitis.
But I assume the Kuwait does not design their own air defense.
Yeah, but these air defense systems are probably from like the 90s, like immediately after the Gulf War won.
That would make sense. That's when they probably would have been.
Yeah, I
rearmed.
mean the thing that was hit in Bahrain, or like may have been hit, that air defense system built by the U.S. was built in 2004.
One thing I have found particularly strange about this is all of a sudden the news is like, everybody just listen to the diaspora. Just listen to the diaspora right now because they love Israel. Please listen to them. Wherein, like, especially with Palestinian stuff, that shit got shut down so hard. Or like Jewish Voice for Peace stuff got shut down so hard. And all of a sudden, now that it's this, everyone has swapped to we just need to pay attention to specific actors in the diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this does seem like a war with no purpose, no objective. I can't imagine, especially because we're seeing all across the Vivest, the splintering of like the center towards the extremes right now, where everyone's going like full blown fascist or going like commie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least much more progressive, I'll say. And there's less people are satisfied with the center. And neither of those parties are particularly thrilled with the prospect of dying for Israel.
Yeah.
And they're being sent to die for Israel.
Well, I mean, that's the common line, dying for Israel, but you are also ultimately dying for American interests,
Yeah.
as expressed through Israeli foreign policy.
And honestly, anyone Israel kills is dying for America.
Yeah. Like, you are in reality speaking dying for America, but like you're going over there to do this over there.
But
I can't imagine all the like trained fascists
yeah.
in the army. I can't imagine they're happy to like go fight it like for Israel, quote unquote.
I think the Israel thing highlights one of the fundamental like falsehoods of the American imperial project that people are sold, that makes it so glaring, and it's why people often use the die for Israel line, is that it's you're kind of sold when you join, right, that you're doing it for your people,
Yeah.
right, when you're actually doing it for your national bourgeoisie's interest,
Yeah.
right? But they might not be aware of that, or maybe they are and they're just crazy, right? But the fact that Israel seems to, like, is so glaringly, the actual people in Israel are so much more glaringly beneficiaries of these projects, like the attacking Iran, than anyone in the US ever will be.
Yeah.
Kind of exposes the entire farce. Because it's like, we have to go to Iran and get shot by Iranian missiles in order to protect what it seems like Israeli interests, while Israel has like free healthcare, free university, free whatever. Meanwhile, we have to spend all this money
in Iowa.
We have to join the military to afford all that.
Yeah.
I'm in a farm in Iowa. My hospital just closed. I joined the military to try to get money to go to college. And like, this is where I'm at.
Yeah, I think what Israel's role in this is it just exposes the whole farcical thing. You were never doing this for your own people, quote unquote. If such a thing exists as like a people, right?
Yeah.
It was always in the service of other like groups that you are not a part of.
When I imagine a community.
Yeah.
Yeah, the concept of a defensive war, like everyone knew that defensive war was kind of fake, historically speaking, through all the different wars. but this is purely offensive. They're not
Yeah.
even manufacturing consent because the manufacturing of consent failed.
Yeah.
And
It's
yeah,
as I
they're just
said,
doing it.
why even bother manufacturing consent? They have the systems in place that they don't need to listen to people.
Yeah,
They have Palantir, they have AI pouring over all the data all the time.
yeah,
Why bother? You can just kill people.
yeah,
You can kill your own citizens and no one's going to stop you.
yeah,
Like they've rolled out this proof of concept in the United States with ICE. You can just indiscriminately kill like white Americans even.
mhm,
No one will stop you.
yeah.
Like what are they going to do?
And like I think we're seeing stuff too. What was I forget if we talked about it with Israel like bulldozing the Canadian graves.
Yeah, the Commonwealth graves in Palestine.
Yeah, and they're just like, we're gonna consider looking into it.
Which, by the way, were maintained by Palestinians, something that we really don't deserve for them to do for us.
Yeah,
Right? Still bulldozed by Israel.
yeah. I guess unless anyone has much more, there is one lesson to this story.
Mm-hmm.
Get nukes.
Yeah.
Instantly, anyone, if you're not sure, all right, because here's the thing. Iran was not getting nukes, and then America bombed them under the pretense of them getting nukes, and then said they were going to they had shut down their ability to get nukes for years to come. And then Iran continued to not get nukes, and then America has once again said they're going to get nukes, we're going to bomb them again. So if they're going to bomb you if you don't have nukes because you have nukes, why not just get the nukes?
Yeah. The thing is that a lot of countries are like nuclear threshold countries where they can, in theory, develop nukes in like 48 hours.
Yeah,
Iran is supposed to be one of those countries.
yeah,
But I mean, I don't know if they are. I don't know if, honestly, this strike was so totalizing and crazy that I don't know if Iran has the state capacity to actually be a nuclear threshold country anymore. I assume anyone who is in the position, who has like the authority to make that decision, is either dead or hiding. I'm sure
Yeah.
many of the facilities they would need to produce nukes right now are destroyed or not. People aren't going to work there because they don't want to get bombed in the next wave.
yeah,
So it's kind of I think this sort of, actually, if anything, this kind of disproves the idea of a nuclear threshold country, because the US has proved that they can hit you so fast and so hard that you're not going to have the 48 hours you need to start building these weapons.
yeah.
You have to already have them before the US.
Yeah, I'd honestly I wouldn't be shocked because it's a fully believable situation to happen, but it would be kind of shocking to me if they didn't come out tomorrow and just be like, hey, we have actually just built nukes now, or something like that. Because what do you have to lose if you're them? I'm not saying this is a good idea, but if you're them and you know this situation is happening and developing as it has developed in the last few years, what else are you going to do?
Honestly, I think as callous as the Iranian regime has proven itself to be past few months, I think they would still be afraid of the idea of their cities getting nuked in retaliation just for saying they have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past Israel to go full Samson option. and
I
flatten it,
do
Iran.
suppose so. They do have like hundreds of nukes just outside their door.
Yeah, pointed at them right now.
Yeah. And Netanyahu's fingers probably itching. In other big news, BC is putting an end to daylight savings time.
As well as
The settler colonial
an
state
end
in BC.
to colonialism.
Yeah. A lot of big things happening in BC, right?
Right. So two things. First of all, as of this year, after the switch over next week, BC will no longer switch clocks ever again. They are transitioning to permanent daylight savings time, something that actually Ontario legally is supposed to do already.
But
Yes.
not until it's adopted also by Quebec
And New York State.
Which Mamdani could, honestly. If
He's
anyone
the
would,
fucking
he
mayor
would.
of New York City. No, he's not. His name isn't
Okay.
Kathy Hochul.
But he has leveraged pressure on New York State already. I think he
Oh wait, really? For
he-
real?
I
Wait,
think
is this?
Wait,
didn't he
shit, for
force
real?
New York State to go along with the free daycare program or something?
I guess he like managed to convince Kathy Hochul to go along with it. Yeah.
I guess honestly, I don't know the level. I figure it was just because of the New York Stock Exchange, which I
That is
figured-
why they
yeah,
want TSX and NYSX synced
yeah,
or NYSE synced. But here's the thing: why not just have the stock exchange here open an hour earlier and close an hour
Yeah.
earlier? It's like what? Those finance guys who are high on coke all the time can't be awake at 7 a.m.
yeah,
They already are.
yeah, and also like everyone's job shifts an hour anyways.
Yeah.
Like okay,
Yeah.
it's just part of it.
Yeah, I think honestly, I don't know the laws. I don't know if these laws exist, but I'm theorizing with no supporting evidence
Yeah.
that there's a Mexican standoff between Quebec, New York State, and Ontario where they're all waiting for the other two to change before they go through with it.
Yeah.
Well, Ontario's already taken itself out of the Mexican standoff.
Well, no, they said the other two will do it and then we will.
Yeah.
They've legally codified the Mexican stand.
I wouldn't be surprised if Quebec and New York have the same catch-22 in place where we're all waiting for the other two and no one is moving on it.
Maybe we get the Parti Québécois in there, it's the bloc but the province, right?
We need a Jacobin party of Quebec. Parti Québécois is too enchanted with bourgeois nationalism. We need sort of like I guess so are the Jacobins, but we need like a sort
the
of
Jacobins created bourgeois nationalism, honey.
We need like a party in Quebec that embodies the rationalist things about the Jacobins, where they like try to make a Quebecois metric calendar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a daylight
Le
savings
fait de
time.
raison.
Yeah. Or they replace laïcité with the cult of supreme reason. That's what I want to see out of Quebec. But so BC is transitioning to permanent daylight savings. They are also they've also decided to recognize, or the federal government actually has recognized, the Musqueam Nation's claim over the city of Vancouver, which has caused a lot of stir among right-wing media, as the Cowichan decision did, which we covered on this show.
Yeah.
We also covered the Musqueam raising their own contradictions to the Cowichan claim, claiming actually they should have that area. And it seems the Musqueam situation is resolved with them getting Vancouver, which honestly, if I were the Cowichan, I would be like, what the fuck? We get this like 1 kilometer square stretch of sandbank, and the fucking Musqueam get the whole city.
They're gonna execute Ken Sim live in front of City Hall and install like a puppet mayor, interim puppet mayor, who's like some like, I don't know, some nobody member of the Musqueam Nation.
Yeah. Here's my take. My take on the Musqueam situation is the same as it was for the Cowichan situation. If this actually is in any way a meaningful threat to the economy of British Columbia, it will be shut down. Nothing will happen. I think the Musqueam Nation doesn't want anything to happen because it would be bad for them if it did happen.
Yeah.
They would rather business continues as normal, but they are now the title issuing authority. That's all they want, I think. And I think nothing will come of this. In fact, people will have forgotten about this
in like 20 years.
Yeah.
In fact, people will have forgotten about this in about 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
If the people who have not forgotten about this in a couple months, unless there's like a big new scandal or something like that, it's gonna be like the 2026 anti-masker.
Yeah. All this is a recognition of the already existing de jure situation of the British Columbian coast, which is that any territory in British North America not covered by a specific treaty is indigenous titled land, as commanded by King George III sometime in the 1750s. So if you have a problem with this decision, my advice is to build a time machine, go to London in the 1750s, tell King George III to knock it off because we need to build condos in Vancouver in the year 2026 instead.
Maybe this will be what jumpstarts a Republican movement in Canada.
I don't think so, but we'll see. Honestly, because the people who are upset by it are the ones who are probably the most likely to be royal watchers. I don't think.
Actually, I don't really think that's the case because, like, you know, there's some like Q people, QAnon people in this who are like probably much more Republican or at least monarchist who back the claim of that, like,
oh, Jacobites? Do we have?
Oh, no. I mean, like that Filipino lady.
Oh, yeah. I don't know
what the fuck's she up to now? Is she still in that Saskatchewan town?
Are we talking Queen of Canada?
I assume she's gathering a horde of steppe warriors in central Canada and will soon ravage the decadent agrarian states of Ontario.
I was reading a Doppelganger by Naomi Klein. She eventually got to her Queen of Canada chapter, and I was soying out, man. Like, she was listening to us.
Yo, she's in a theosophy now.
Another Aleister Crowley connection.
Holy hell. It all goes back to the British government's decision to just implant this guy in all these secret societies so they'd have an eye on them.
Well, That's for next episode,
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah.
Whenever that happens.
I might just make that an article, honestly. There's so much I'd have to write for that.
We're
It would be an hours and hours long episode.
good.
Multi-part series.
I'm still only on the researching the Aleister Crowley life.
Yeah.
I'm at the part where he's in New York City working for the British government, and he's writing all these these anti-British texts for newspapers. Like he's writing for like Irish nationalist newspapers, Indian nationalist newspapers, pro-German newspapers in World War One, right?
Mhm.
But the articles he's writing are like so crazy and ridiculous that people are like, "What the? This is like this is insane." It's like making the Central Powers look crazy. So the U.S. government investigates Crowley to figure out if he's a German agent, and then the British embassy steps in and they're like, "No, we're aware of his activities. Don't look into this any further."
As if we want to be late to a news story real quick. The Olympics happened, and
They
there
came
were
and went.
a couple notable things. Honestly, at first I thought it was going to be lame as hell, but then I ended up having a lot of fun watching it. And big thanks to CBC Gem. And it unfortunately resulted with us losing hockey and then going on to lose men's hockey. Which,
But winning curling.
winning curling,
After that whole cheating accusation.
which first of all was absolutely fake.
But also, yes, Sweden was going to do that to whoever they face next. Let's be real. I stand with whatever that guy's name was. McDonald or something.
Speaking about bourgeois nationalism here.
What was that guy's name? Ken McDonald? Or Ken?
The most Canuck ass name
Yeah.
I've ever fucking heard.
Honestly, the most connected name would probably be Doug Ford.
Nah, Ford's too English. It has to be some like Scotch name.
I have no clue how long this recording has been. So
Me neither.
do we have more? We're trying to
To stretch it out. Canada signed some deals with India.
oh yeah, the India stuff has been interesting because we also went on record after finding like a bunch of foreign interference, including foreign assassinations taking place in Canada.
Like Indian
They were
intelligence
just like,
being heavily
actually,
involved
that's
in-
all. Nothing happened.
Yeah, so Carney went over to India as part of his new middle power independent country scheme. Get India to sign some deals, and they did some free trade stuff or whatever. And then liberal MPs were like, "No, but India interfered in elections. Don't you remember?
Yeah.
Please don't do this.
No, the vote bowls.
No, not the hecking,
The-
not
they
the
were-
hecking bourgeois
Guys,
circus.
it was
no.
like the curling cheating, but for our vote balls.
Holy hell! Just put the fucking free trade in the bag, little bro.
All right, that's as much steam as we have, I think. Thanks for listening,
Yeah.
y'all.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.